Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks a lot for watching today's video. Always really grateful for that, much appreciated. Guys, today I'm going to talk about the 3 best cold water crankbaits that you can use that not many people fish, not many people know about. I think everybody is real familiar with like the favorite crankbaits out there for cold water, like shad wraps and wiggle warts, but I got 3 here that I do better than anything on that we're going to talk about. I think it's going to add up to some good fish for you guys over the next couple months here. Also, guys, just a couple things, quick reminders before we get started here. I'd like to invite everybody to please consider subscribing here to Intuitive Angling if you haven't. Right now, 40% of the viewers of the channel are not subscribed to the channel. So if you just click that subscribe button and you don't miss any videos, no obligation, it's free. It's a good way to support the channel. And also please check out our Fish the Moment winter lake map breakdowns we got up on the site. This is a really good resource to get you some good winter spots for jerkbait fishing. So much appreciated. What? You can. Okay. Elijah's in here drawing some maps in the background over there. Okay, guys, let's get into this. 3, I'm going to go over each one of these, and I'm sure to show you guys or talk a little bit, some tips and advice on how I like to fish each one of them, and see if add up to some good ones for you guys. So the first one, I don't think a lot of people is going to get this one. If you guess this one, you're probably you're think the same way I do, but a 1/4 ounce rattle trap, guys, is one of the top wintertime lures out there. I do consider it a crankbait. It's a lipless crankbait, but it's still a crankbait. Guys, this thing is deadly in the right situation, but it doesn't work in the typical winter situation that most people think that they have when winter situations have. But if you got, this is what you have to have for the 1/4 ounce rattle trap to work. If you've got water visibility where you fish that is less than 3 feet, and you have a fairly shallow lake, like a lake, something like Lake Eufaula in Alabama, some type of a more flatter lowland lake, where water visibility is not over 3 feet deep, and where you have water temperatures that don't fall below like 45 degrees, which, you know, some lakes, there's a lot of lakes that have some water like that. Guys, a little 1/4 ounce rattle trap is deadly all winter long. And what I do with it, I fish it on pretty light line. I usually throw it on 10-pound test, Seagar and Vizex 4 carbon line, and I fish it on flatter type areas close to deeper water. If you have shallow grass, that is ideal. A little 1/4 ounce rattle trap around shallow milfoil or hydrilla is deadly. It also works good if you're fishing flats with like stumps and lay down trees that are in shallow water next to deeper water. Rocky banks like riprap banks, just chunk rock banks, that type of stuff. And just throw it out there and let it sink close to the bottom and just sort of crawl it just off the bottom. You don't want to throw it out there and reel it in like you do a rattle trap. You want to almost throw it out there and just maybe sort of pump it a little bit. Try to keep it in contact with the bottom, but just off of the bottom a little bit. So what I usually do with it is I'll throw it out there, I'll let it hit the bottom or close to the bottom, and then I'll just start slow cranking it and maybe pull it a little bit, let it fall a little bit, you know, down closer to the bottom. Just try to keep it, you know, wiggling down there just off the bottom. Deadly for cold water fish. Next one, guys, is probably, if not my favorite, it's one of my top 2 favorites, is the Megabass Flap Slap. Guys, this is a killer cold water crankbait. It's under the right situation. I don't know if there's a better one out there. I've caught so many big fish, so many quality fish in the wintertime months on the Flap Slap here. Normally what I do with it is I'll put a little bit of a suspend strip on it, because the Flap Slap with the stock hooks, it'll float up a little bit. So I put a few suspend strips on it. You can see this one here, I fished it a lot here. Got some red gills painted on it with fingernail polish. But weight it to where, you know, it's neutrally buoyant in the water. And the thing about the Flap Slap, guys, I fish it like a hybrid crankbait jerkbait. So I'm looking for the same type of conditions that I just talked about with the 1/4 ounce rattle trap. A little bit off colored water, flatter stuff, rocky banks, riprap, all that type of stuff. Areas where the fish don't go deep in the wintertime. And there's a lot of lakes across the country where they don't. Even lakes like Grand Lake here close to where I'm at, you got some areas that this will work all winter long too. But the Flap Slap, what I do with it, it's a little bit different than the rattle trap. The rattle trap, you know, I'm throwing it out there, slow reeling it close to the bottom. Flap Slap, I'll pull it out there and I'll crank it down like a crankbait. And then once it gets down to its deepest point towards the bottom, I start sort of working it like a subtle jerk bait. I'll throw it out there, I'll reel it down, and I'll sort of pull it and maybe twitch it a couple times, just twitch the rod tip a couple times, reel it a couple times, pull it, twitch that rod tip a couple times. So when that flap slap gets down to its deepest point, I'm sort of like wanting to make it dart around a little bit, you know, wiggle a little bit and dart around like that. But guys, this thing is just killer, man. Well, the biggest bag of fish I ever caught in a tournament was in February at Lake Gunnersville on this. Water temperature was 47 degrees. I was throwing the flap slap over, you know, submergent hydrilla there on Gunnersville. Probably would have won that tournament if I hadn't lost them the first day. The first day, I had 8 fish hooked. I weighed 1 fish in that weighed 5 pounds, 11 ounces, and I lost 7 other big ones, like the same class fish, 4 to 6 pounders. And then I changed out hooks, and the second day of the tournament, I caught a limit that weighed 25.11 on the flap slap. That's the biggest bag I've caught in a tournament ever. So get you some of those. Also, guys, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description here. If you guys can get all the stuff I'm talking about here, if you use that link, helps the channel out. And the final one, guys, is the Rapala DT6. Now, this is, a lot of people don't equate this with a winter bait, but this is an excellent wintertime bait. It's a balsa lure, it's quiet, it's got a tight wiggle with it. Again, I'll do the same thing. I'll put the suspend strips on the bottom of it to get it where, you know, it doesn't float up, because it is a high floater with that. But it's the same thing, guys. I'll crank the DT6, riprap banks, rocky banks, over grass, anything like that. There's something about the profile and the action and the subtleness about this bait that cold water fish in the wintertime love this thing. Catch a ton of fish on it. So anyway, guys, that's the 3 you want to try. My 3 top ones for the wintertime: 1/4 ounce rattle trap, Megabass flap slap, Rapala DT6. If you are in a lake, like I said, that has water, if you're in a lake that's got super clear water, like Table Rock here where I'm at, these things aren't going to work that good. But if you do have a lake that has that 2 to 3.5 foot clarity, definitely give these a try. It's going to be a really good producer for y'all. So anyway, hope it helps. See you guys later.